Brought to you by Penguin.
Revolting by Deary. Read by Toby Longworth. This book is dedicated to the true heroes of history, Mr and Mrs Peasant. Disobedience, in the eyes of anyone who has read history, is man's original virtue. It is through disobedience that progress has been made, through disobedience and through rebellion. Oscar Wilde, The Soul of Man Under Socialism, 1891. Introduction. The revolting are always with us. How revolting are you? It's something you ought to ask yourself. You may swear you are the least revolting person you know, but are you really? Don't you take the side of the rebel? Don't you cheer for Robin Hood rather than the Sheriff of Nottingham? Don't you quietly suppress a sigh when revolting peasant Wat Tyler is stabbed by the weedy Richard II's henchman? Or wipe away a tear for Joan of Arc as her dreams of freedom go up in smoke, along with her body? We need to understand our fellow humans, but first we need to understand ourselves. One of the many measures of your personality is where you stand on rebellion. Are you a conformist or ready to take arms against a sea of troubles? Good phrase. Note to self. Use it in a play script sometime. If you think you are a conformist, are you sure there's nothing that would make your rebel spirit spring out from under the duvet? You have plenty of material out there. The history of the world is a history of rebellion, from day one up until today, and probably long into the future. Ashur-banipal, the last great king of the Assyrian Empire, was not a man to be trifled with. In 667 BC, he invaded Egypt to finish off what his dead granddad, Sennacherib, had started. Sennacherib, ruled 705 to 681 BC, had promised those who resisted his rule, "I cut my enemies' throats like lambs. I cut off their precious lives like string. Like the waters of a storm, I make the juices of their throats and guts run down onto the wide earth. My prancing horses plunge into the streams of their blood as they would into a river. The bodies of their warriors filled the plain. I tore out their private parts like the seeds of cucumbers." You may be fined for refusing to pay your television license, but at least you get to keep your private parts, probably. When it was Ashur-banipal's turn to repress Egypt, many of the Egyptian nobility were executed, and the Assyrians ruled for 20 painful years. Like his granddad, it must run in the family. Ashur-banipal was a cruel ruler who had his promise carved onto a monument. "I had the arms and legs cut off their bodies, and I fed them to the dogs, pigs, wolves, and eagles. I fed them to the birds in the heavens and the fish in the oceans. What was left I had taken from Babylon and thrown into heaps. I broke into the tombs of the old Elamite kings and let in the sun. I carried their bones back to Assyria. I stopped the priests giving them sacrifices, so their ghosts were tormented." As deterrents against insubordination go, that is stronger than detention at HMP. It seems rebellion is just part of our nature. In the Bible, God tells Adam and Eve they may eat any of the fruit in the Garden of Eden, but not the apple. So, what did they do? You know it. An evil serpent persuades them to have a nibble. As a punishment, we humans were thrown out of Eden and left to hunt and gather for ourselves. "That'll teach them to rebel," God said. She already had her own problems with Lucifer, a rebel angel. God's answer to Lucifer's disobedience was to order him to get the hell out of heaven. Not God's smartest move. The exiled can still plot and organize a comeback. Still, defying authority has consequences. Rebel if you want, but face punishment if you fail, especially if you live in ancient Assyria. If you're not persuaded by lessons from the Bible, then look at the Greek caution.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?